Okay, everybody, it's Tuesday today, and we are looking at fractions, and more importantly, equivalent fractions. Okay, we're looking at equivalent fractions today. Now, here's our aim. I can identify equivalent fractions, and our success criteria is I can recognize equivalent fractions on a diagram, and I can use multiplication or division to find equivalent fractions. Okay, so first of all, let's start counting forwards and backwards along the fraction counting stick, just to make sure we're counting out our fractions and that they're correct. So this is from 0 to 1, and we're starting off with 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, and 9/10. And then obviously it would be 10 over 10, which makes 1 whole 1. And back down the line again, 9/10, 8/10, 7/10, 6/10, 5/10, 4/10, 3/10, 2/10, or 1/10. Okay? And the next one, between 0 and 1, you have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8, or 1 whole 1. And we're going back down again. 7/8, 6/8, 5/8, 4/8, 3/8, 2/8, 1/8. One sixth, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and then 6/6, or 1. Back down again. 5/6, 4/6, 3/6, 2/6, 1/6. There you go. Okay. What fraction is the arrow pointing to on the fraction counting stick? Okay, here. How many sections are there? 1. So we know we're looking at thirds. Okay. 1/3. Hopefully you're all saying 2/3. How many is it split into? Where are we at? Hopefully you're all saying 3/4. What's this one going to be? Where's the fraction? What fraction is the arrow stick pointing to? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know it's sectioned into fifths, and we are 1, 2 up. So hopefully you all said 2/5. Now, finding equivalent fractions. This is the main part of our lesson today. That was just hopefully warming us all up. Equivalent fractions have the same value, but different numerators and denominators. Okay, this means the equivalent means equal fractions, so the same value. Okay, the same value. Okay, so all of these ways are different ways of expressing half of something. As you can see here, this is 1 of 2. 1 out of 2, yeah? This one is 2 out of 4, and this one is 3 out of 6. But they all are equivalent to 1/2. They all equal the same, okay? So 1/2, you can have 2 over 4, 3 over 6, 4 over 8, 5 over 10, 6 over 12, okay? We can use multiplication to find equivalent fractions. So here we have if you're trying to find equivalent fractions, if you have an equivalent fraction like this, so you have 1/3, okay? If you times the top number by 2 and the bottom number by 2, you'll get an equivalent fraction, okay? So if we times this by 2 here, 1 times 2 is 2, and then 3 times 2 is 6. So if it was 2 over 6, that would be the equivalent to 1 over 3, because you've times the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. If you times the top by 3, the bottom by 3, you'll have another equivalent fraction. Okay, but look here, so 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 over 6. So the 2 over 6 is the same as, equivalent to, 1 over 3. It's equivalent, it's the same. See? Let's have a look at another one. What method could you use to make an equivalent fraction? You can multiply, look, so this one here, look, we're doing it by 3 this time. 1 times, you can multiply the numerator and the denominator. The numerator and the denominator, the top and the bottom. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So, again, 1 over 3 is the same as 3 over 9. They're equivalent. They're equal and equivalent. Well, right here, so here we have 8 over 10. You don't just have to times to get equivalent fractions, you can also divide, okay? So here we have 8 over 10, okay? If we divide this top number here by 2, the numerator, and then we divide the denominator by 2, what do we get? Hopefully you said 4 over 5. And again, that means that 8 over 10 is equal to, equivalent, the same as 4 over 5. So we can multiply and divide to find more equivalent fractions. Here we have 9 over 12. 9 over 12. What could we do here? Can we make an equivalent fraction? Yeah, we can. We can divide this numerator and the denominator by 3. Okay? Remember, they both have to be divided by the same number, and they have to divide equally. So, for example, if this was 11, you couldn't do it, okay? Because 3 doesn't go into 11 completely. Okay? So let's divide this by 3. So that should be 3, and that should be 4, 3/4. So 9 over 12 is equal to 3/4. So, half is the same as 5 over 10. 3/4 here is equal to 6 over 8, because if we times this by 2, get 6, times this by 2, get 8. Right, now which ones are equivalent with which ones? Have a think. The 3 of them match up with each other. But which ones do they match up to? I'll give you 30 seconds to just quickly pair them up. Okay. So, what about this one here? Hopefully the half, you realise that if I times that by 5 and this by 5, it makes 5 over 10. Oops. Go back one. Okay. 1 over 4, 1/2 and 5 over 10. Now, what about the next one? What about this one? Well, hopefully you realise if I times this by 3 and this by 3, you get 3 over 12. And then for this one, hopefully you realised that if I times this one by 5 and this by 5, I get 5 over 15. And they're the equivalent fractions. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the activity that you're going to have a go at. Okay, just going to bring that over here. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. As you can see, our learning objective, I can identify and then now write equivalent fractions. I want you to write 3 equivalent fractions here for this. So for example, you might use 5 over 10. You might, for this one. You might have 50 over 100. Okay, you might have 10 over 20, because they're 3 equivalent fractions for a half. And I want you to write 3 equivalent fractions for all 16 of these fractions. Okay, good luck with that activity. I hope that you feel confident in tackling some equivalent fractions topic today.